Hey everybody, guess who? Your favorite drone guy, Terry with the Drone Cap. Glad to have you here today. And so, welcome to the special report. Breaking news, big stuff. You heard it here first. Maybe, maybe not. But, um, got some big news. And we had a little trailer kind of leading up to this. I hope you saw that. Some really big things have happened to the drones that I like, that really lend into what we do as aerial cinematographers. So I want to just tell you a little bit about this stuff. It's so new. I'm still getting out there and getting my hands on all these features. So for the next couple of weeks, we're probably going to hear a lot about this stuff because I am stoked about it. Man, it's going to make your productions just unreal. So first off, you know how I love the Evo. I love the Autel Evo. We're not going to talk about the Evo much today. The Evo has been around for a couple years, and recently Autel released the Evo 2, which is an even more amazing drone. But we're getting up there in price. And as you know with technology, when a new version of something comes out, support for the older version starts to kind of slip until it ultimately goes away. So the Evo 1, I would venture to say, is pretty maxed out in capability of what it can do. Even though it's still a fantastic drone, excellent camera, there are some tools that it's not probably going to get. So that being said, I want to talk about the Mavics. So you know I have the Mavic Mini. We've talked a lot about the Mavic Mini and done some demos and stuff like that with it. Amazing, just amazing little drone. And you probably know recently, and of course, again, it is a scorching hot day in Florida. I'm sorry. Just, we got it handled, right? Ice cold Dr. Pepper. So, recently got the Mavic Air 2. Now, this guy is... Alright, you guys are killing me here. Love this drone. And the more I fly it, the more I love it. And I mean that literally every single time I put it in the air. I land and I go, oh geez, oh whiz, what have they done? This thing is amazing. Alright, just briefly let's hit the specs, the major specs. Front and rear obstacle avoidance sensors. You can now set those to avoid an object, fly around it, up it, above it, over it, around it, whatever, or to brake when it approaches an object, or you can turn them off altogether. I'm not going to get into why you would do that, but there are cases where you would do that. Downward sensors to help it land. Camera, okay, because that's kind of important what we're talking about, right? 4K at 60 frames per second, all the way down to 24 frames, and 2.7. 1080. I mean, you've got a wide range of things. It shoots in a normal color profile, or what's called de-Cinelike, which is kind of like log, which is a flat color profile to give you a lot of leeway in post color correction. So you have a lot to work with there. There are some presets built in there for things for like hyperlapse, dronies, or I mean some of these kind of fun, kind of almost sort of novelty things that as a cinematographer I really don't use. I don't find useful because I'm either flying manually by my own control, or I may use something like the tracking feature for various things. And I've talked about that before. Tracking, of course, first thing that pops to mind is you lock onto something like a motorcycle or a car or skier going down a hill or whatever and let the drone follow it. That's awesome. You can also use tracking to do orbits and things like that. So what's happened? Why the special report? Why are we all excited? Why am I drinking Dr. Pepper out in the sun? Because it's about to rain. No, we're just trying to beat the storm. That's what we're doing. The reason for all the hubbub and the excitement is there have been 2 updates pushed out. One to the software on your control device, and that means your phone or your tablet. Now, don't get your control device confused with the remote controller itself. Two different things. The remote controller connects to your control device, which has the screen to let you see what's going on and make all the camera settings and flight control settings. That's the difference in the two things. The remote's actually the sticks and the switches for the input to fly the drone. So they kind of work hand in hand because they technically plug together with a cable. So the update to the control device software, which is called DJI Fly, added some features that are just fantastic for flying smoother. Now, with practice, and by saying practice, I mean lots and lots of practice, hundreds of hours of practice, you can get smooth with the sticks. You can get your orbits smooth. You can get your pans. You can get your crane ups with the camera tilt nice and smooth. You can get all these things worked out. And after enough time, it'll kind of get to be muscle memory. But you still have to think about it. You still have to consider it. You have to think about the speed. How far are you moving those sticks? And you are working the sticks in tandem to get compound movements. It's trickier than you think. If you haven't been flying, if you're new to flying, there's a lot more going on here than meets the eye. So what they added in this update was the ability to fine-tune that. So you can control now, you can preset your yaw rate for one. And your yaw rate is how fast the drone turns on a vertical axis. So just imagine it's sitting on top of a fence post and it's turning. So that's your yaw rate. So if you turn the sticks too fast, it's going to yaw too fast. And you're going to get kind of a jumpy image, or it depends on your frame rate and all these other things. So it's kind of a weird thing. You have to consider that. So now you can fine tune that so you can make it turn super slow, super fast, or anywhere in between. All right, but think about that too. When you get to the end of the turn, do you want it just to abruptly stop, or do you want to just abruptly start? I mean, do you want like this real kind of choppy, like, you want a nice smooth turn. You want it to kind of accelerate into the pan and decelerate out of it. You want to enter that shot and exit that shot smoothly. That can also be preset, so you can adjust that sensitivity. Now, how about this? You have 3 flight modes. You have one called tripod, which lets the drone and everything move slower, so you're getting those kind of nice cinematic moves. Then you have normal mode, which is, what could that be? Normal. It's just you're flying normal. I mean, it's kind of an average speed, average responsiveness, all that. Then you have sport mode, which is like turbo fast. It'll go over 40 miles an hour. Why would you use that? Well, if you're flying at high altitude, you need more speed to give that illusion or that impression of motion, because if you're flying too slow, too high, it's going to almost look like you're just sitting there. So those are the reasons for those 3. All right, now back to those settings. You can customize those for each of the 3 modes. Pretty cool. So that way it's not like one global, one universal setting that's going to hit all 3 of your flight modes. You can go in and fine-tune each set of parameters for each flight mode. Pretty dang cool, right? Pretty darn cool. All right. So that kind of blew me away. I got out, flew around a little bit, was able to mess around, get those things. All right. So what they do? They also improve the tracking and the way it locks on. So again, you can use your tracking to create just a gorgeous orbit. Like if you're going to orbit around a building or a statue, you can lock that in much easier. You can do a spotlight where the drone doesn't actually move. You can crane up or crane down, but lock on to, say, a person or a building or something stationary, or moving around somewhat. Not like a car driving down the road or something, but something where you're going to have little motion, but you want to get that up and you want to keep the camera locked on it as the camera raises in altitude or lowers in altitude. Got that too. You can also follow an object parallel. So if you have a car going down the street, I don't know if I get my angle right, it'll go alongside it. The drone will actually fly sideways with the camera pointed at the side of the car or the side of the object in motion. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Are you jumping up and down yet? I am. See, it's almost time for Dr. Pepper. But All right, so what did they do after that? Now, remember, there's a little difference here. That was a software update to the application. Firmware lives on the drone itself. It's the brains that are baked into the processor, into the system on board the aircraft. So they pushed out a firmware update just a couple days ago. And I've been getting out a little bit. And again, you're going to be hearing a lot more about this to dig into this. The big thing that really jumps out, that really kind of set things crazy on fire, was the addition of zoom. They added a zoom capability to the camera. It's a 2x zoom. You can shoot with 4K and 2.7K, and it will do 4 times in 1080. Really slick. Now, there's a few ways to do that. You can do it using the flight control software on your screen, or we will also be able to do it with the remote controller. There's a button, a function button you press, and you use your scroller wheel, which typically will tilt your gimbal up and down. But as long as you have that function button held down, you use the scroll wheel. It does not tilt the gimbal, but it provides a very smooth zoom in and out. See, here we're doing a 3D thing again. You guys want me to do this in 3D? It'd be great. I don't know how to do it, but I'm sure we know some filmmakers that might be able to work that up. So anyway, so now you've got zoom. I mean, and it's really, really, really cool. It adds a ton of functionality to an already promising drone. So we're going to be going, again, special report. I'm just getting the news out there, just planting the seeds, telling you what we're going to be talking about. We're going to do an episode on zoom. We're going to do an episode on tracking. We're going to do an episode on each one of these things and dig into it. We're going to have a lot of the things to watch. Examples, demos. See, I thought it's the heat. I'm crazy from the heat again. All right. Did we forget about this dude? Well, what's it do? Well, it doesn't have tracking. It's got a good camera. I mean, it shoots in 2.7K. Doesn't have zoom. Doesn't have a lot of those bells and whistles. But again, remember, this is a $400 drone, right? So they're not going to make a $400 drone have all the toys of a $1,000 drone, or even going on up to the Mavic 2, not the Mavic Air 2, but the Mavic 2, which is you get up around $2,000. It's kind of obvious reasons. They would cannibalize sales, and everybody would just be running around with minis, and nobody would buy the others. But finally, DJI released their SDK, and everybody raise their hand if you know what an SDK is. You got it. An SDK is a software development kit. Well, what good's that? Who cares? Who needs it? Is it for me? Do I have to download it? No, not for you. It's for the developers. What it is, it's kind of the blueprint to the software that runs the drone. Now, a lot of manufacturers really protect their SDKs. They don't want to give their 11 herbs and spices recipe out to everybody. But in some cases, they reach a decision point where they do see a benefit in that. So for whatever reason, DJI decided to release that. And there is a third-party flight control app called Lychee, Litchi. Now, they're not part of DJI. They're just their own developer. And they've been around quite a while. And they only work with DJI drones. Lychee is I want to tell you, it's like 25 or 30 bucks. It's worth every penny of it. It adds functionality to drones, particularly some older models that never existed from DJI. They're able to go in and write the code, taking the SDK information from DJI and adding their own levels of technology into it. So what have they done for the Mavic Mini? Well, again, it just came out, so I'm just starting to get hands-on with it. The big thing is tracking. Now, tracking is tricky because of the way it works. It uses GPS, it uses obstacle recognition, it's got all this magic that it puts together to stay locked onto an object. It seems simple, like, oh, there's a guy over there, let's draw a box around it and it'll just follow him. Man, there's a lot more going on to it than that. It's just not that simple. But that's part of it. It's not to say it's not an element, but there is a lot going on there. So you have to have the drone either track an object or it can follow something like another device. Um, an example is the Skydio 2 comes with a little thing called a beacon. It's about the size of a remote fob for your car. It locks onto that, you stick it in your pocket, and that drone will follow you all over the place, but it could care less about you. It's following that beacon. It's tethered to that beacon. So if you take that beacon and you're riding your bicycle across a mountaintop and you throw it off into the valley, see you, Skydio. So it's got different drones, and different things will control how objects are tracked. So it's been very tricky to add that to a drone that doesn't have a lot of the hardware baked into it. Somehow Lychee has pulled that off. Now, I don't know all the ins and outs yet of what they've added to the Mini, but it's looking like they've added some pretty cool toys. And this is a pretty recent thing, so it's one of those, stay tuned. They might be coming out with even more cool things for the Mavic Mini. Again, the Mini is a really good drone. If you're just getting into this, if you're just thinking about getting your first drone and you don't want to spend a lot of money, you just don't have a big budget, or you have a huge budget, doesn't matter what you've got, it's how much do you want to spend. You can't beat this. It's $400 for the basic kit. But again, you always hear me say this, don't skimp and get the basic kit. Spend a few more dollars and get what you're going to need. For $500, you get the Fly More combo. It's going to give you 3 batteries. It's going to give you a nice charger brick where they all charge together. You're going to get a nice semi-hard shell case to carry everything in, extra props, because you're going to get out there and you're going to fly out one battery, and you're going to think, wow, I just got started. I can't do anything on battery. No, you got to have a few batteries. And then you'll continue to add more, because you'll want to get out and fly. And, you may fly 5 or 6 batteries. So, you're just going to want it. But anyway, for not a big budget, you're going to be able to get some nice 2.7K video out of this guy. Really good stills. It does not shoot in RAW, but it shoots really nice JPEGs. So again, it depends on what your needs are. This dude, however, a little bit more money, roughly twice the price, about twice the size, about twice the weight. But it does a lot more. It does shoot a JPEG and RAW simultaneously, 48 megapixel images. I mean, I could go on and on and on and just kill you with specs, bore you to death with specs on this. But until you actually get out and fly either one of these, it's really hard to illustrate it. And and I'll throw that out there again. Hey, if anybody's ever in Central Florida visiting, I know we're operating under COVID standards and being safe and all that kind of stuff. But hey, I'm welcoming you to get in touch. We'll go out and fly, get some hands-on experience, and just let you see what this stuff is all about, what it can do. But anyway, that's it. That's our special report. I'm not doing any backflips, handstands, or other interesting gymnastics. Not going to sing, not going to dance. Ain't going to do it, because this stuff is exciting enough, and I could do nothing to top this. So anyway, we've got some really cool episodes coming up. I just can't tell you about it. I'm just so excited talking about it. I'm not even over caffeinated from the Dr. Pepper. But we're going to see a lot of cool cinematic stuff here out of these drones. Again, thinking about your budget, thinking about your abilities to fly. I mean, it does take some skill. It does take some practice. But these things are making it easier to get good shots. So it's all getting closer and closer in your hands all the time. I'm always here to help you out. If you have any questions, if you want to talk about models, if you want to, just figure anything out, if you just want to, talk about shots, I mean, you could care less about flying it yourself. Do you need a drone? Do you need a drone operator? That's what I'm here for. Get in touch with me. Terry at blackdogdroneops.com. And I'm also a mentor on the Indie Brigade website. Under the mentors are romeropictures.com. Under Indie Brigade, click down to mentors, book a session. We'll dig deep into it. Like I said, if physically possible, we can get together and go out and do a hands-on session. Happy to do that. If you're working on a production, you're writing your script, you're fleshing it out, you're doing your pre-production, you're thinking, maybe a drone shot would be good here. I mean, it can be something simple like a car pulling into a driveway, the dog walking through your backyard. I mean, anything. It could be the simplest shot, tracking shot, dolly shot, low altitude. Remember, don't forget low altitude shots. That's what these things are all about. Even indoor shots. The capabilities are limitless. I'm not going to say it. Sky's the limit. I had to say it. Just had to say it. It's because I knew I just wanted to drive you crazy. Anyway, get in touch with me. Terry at Black Dog Drone Ops or at romeropictures.com. Give us a like. Give us a subscribe. Go to our page. Track us down everywhere online. Check us out on Friday nights. We've got the Friday night show. We've got the Wagner Wiles. We've got all these shows coming. It's just growing so crazy, and we love you guys. So, we're here for you, not just me for your drone stuff, but George, Joe, everybody, the Wagners, everybody is here to just build this community. So anything you need, get in touch with us. Take care. Get ready for the next show because it's going to be aces.